Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing yesterday's, which is Thursday's, college football games. And there were two main ones I talked about before. I was going over my whole week review, but I'm going to go over the other games that happened and their scores. First up, Georgia State beat Rhode Island 42-35. UCF beat Kent State 56-6. That is a lot. Wake Forest won 37-17 against Elon. You have Western Michigan who beat St. Francis 35-17. NC State beat UConn 24-14. I will stop and talk about this real quick. That is disappointing completely because Cincy State should have easily won by a lot more, but they didn't do it. Their team's been hyped up throughout the offseason by a couple people. They got, I'm pretty sure, that Armstrong dude coming from Virginia, and that was supposed to be a good thing, but Virginia sucked. So I don't know why people hype up just transferred quarterbacks in new systems like they're gonna be great. They weren't great. They scored 24 points against UConn out of all teams. This ain't basketball. This is football. And then you have Missouri beating South Dakota 35-10, which they should do. So taking care of the SEC's business. Tulsa beat, I don't even know how to say that, Arkansas Pine Bluff. First I say that 42-7. UAB beat NC A&T 35-6, and then Arizona State beat Southern Utah 24-21. But those are the games from last night. That's a disappointing kind of win for Arizona State because you're a Pac-12 team, won by more against Southern Utah. Like, really? I don't remember a time that Arizona State was like really good. I remember at one point Arizona was really good. That was a weird time when Arizona was really good. They had like that one dude for 1 month that was just absurd. They were like 4-0. Then they fell off the map completely, and I've never seen them come back after that. But of course, that's not the topic right now. One of the topics that we have, I'm going to discuss first, is this Minnesota versus Nebraska game. One of my teachers is a Nebraska fan, so I was very happy to see that they lost. I watched this game live, and some of the things I want to mention is that, first of all, I forgot somehow how bad some of these offenses are in the Big Ten, because I expected this game to be 30-20. I don't know what I was thinking when I gave that prediction, because these teams did not produce anything offensively that's worth mentioning. Outside, let me get the dude's name up real quick. Daniel Jackson, who had a phenomenal toe tap catch late in the game. Shout out to him. That was phenomenal. But that's the only thing offensively that's really worth mentioning. I mean, Nebraska had a kind of a cool trick play at one point, but that's all. There wasn't like anything special that happened, like consistently special. And your starting quarterback for Nebraska, I had some questions about, is Jeff Sims. He's a very good runner, I mentioned, but his accuracy was one of the things I'm pretty sure I mentioned that was a problem. Okay, can you be accurate still? Can you not hurt your team? He hurt his team. He went 11 for 19, which is pretty good. 114 yards, 1 touchdown, but 3 interceptions. It's not a matter of how many incompletions you have, in my opinion. It's a matter of how many of those are actually interceptions. And about half of them were interceptions, which is not a good thing. One of them was late in the game, too. But he also had 91 rushing yards. So you can tell that he's a very good runner, but he's not that good of a thrower, which he's a quarterback. That's very important to be good at. And Nebraska looked like they had control of this game, and there was no question about that. If you had question that, then just, I don't know. I guess you just looked at the box score and said Minnesota won. They had 10 points in the fourth quarter. They must have had somewhat of control of this game. I was at home. No. I mean, whenever Nebraska took the lead, they got control, and they held on to that completely. And it didn't look like Minnesota was going to scoring. And Nebraska got up by 7, and I was like, okay, they have a chance. Then the stat popped up. I'm pretty sure that says something like they're 2-13 in the past 15 games that they've had within 1 score. That is so bad. I'm like, okay, they can't blow this game. There's no way. The circumstances they have right now, they've not let up a touchdown all game. They're in a very good spot. You're up by 5. You're up by 10. You're up by a touchdown pretty late in the fourth quarter. You'll be fine. Then they fumbled, and then got a face mask at one point, and then allowed a 4th and 10, the guy be wide open in the back of the end zone with a phenomenal catch. Not a great throw by Athen. That's the dude's name. I'm not going to try to say his last name because that is something I do not want to missay. But pretty good stuff. And Jeff Sims had a chance to lead the drive. It looked promising. Then he threw an interception, which was not a good thing. And then the kicker for Minnesota, let me get his name up real quick. He drilled a great kick. And Matt Rhule played the situation well, in my opinion. He let it tick down, and he called the timeout. But also those very much good clock management by Minnesota, because at one point they could have called timeout after a sack, but they held on to that. The 10-second runoff could have been a thing. They held on. They didn't use their timeout after that. They waited, and it worked out. Also have a little sinus thing, so I'm sorry if I have to do this. That's probably going to be why. But Dragon Kisic, I'm pretty sure that's just how you say his name. Shout out to him because he made a 47-yard game winner. And what a way to start the year for Minnesota. If you're Nebraska, you got to take some things away from this. Mainly, your offense is very much bad when it comes to turnovers, at least. And you got to figure out what happens. How are you going to change that? I mean, more run plays was like in the main. You have to get a good offensive line to be able to run the ball a lot. But showed some signs of something. Showed that your defense is pretty solid, but you got to score. Also, you got to get good stops late. That was something that was very important. Which they were doing, but the most important stop you needed, you couldn't get. I'm not blaming this on their defense. Their defense played great. Both their defenses played great. I'm just saying your offense needs it. If your offense ain't doing enough, your defense needs to get stopped late to actually win. And that just shows the history. The only reason I mention that is because they have not won close games. So just the minor things here and there lead up to a lot. Even though you played very good, you could have played great if you got those stops. So yeah, that's what I'm just saying. Next up, Florida versus Utah. People were talking about Florida like they had actually a chance in this game. I talked to everyone before about this. You can check my review. I was almost spot on with this prediction. I said Utah was going to win 24-17. Ended up being 24-11. Almost spot on. So, there we go. Pretty good prediction by me. But one thing I was not expecting is that Barnes was going to get the start. I didn't realize that. But he proved why real quick. Because he had a big deep ball, about 70 yards when he got the ball the first time. Great job by them in Utah to go deep on the first play, and it worked. And after that, they just controlled the game. Florida had some chances, but penalties really hurt them. And one thing I'm going to say, I talk about Graham Mertz being bad, and I'm not going to change that opinion yet. He went 31 for 44, 333 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And you look at the stats, you might go, those are pretty good. But something I saw that Kirk Herbstreit kept mentioning throughout the game, and one thing I also realized, is that when he was pump faking the ball, the receiver was not running his route really at the time. He wasn't breaking. So the fakes were not working. And that also kind of led to 5 sacks. And sacks he just couldn't get the ball out for. And his mobility is going to be a problem because his offensive line proved to actually not be that good. I thought they might have had a chance to be good. But I ended up just, in the spring game I was looking at that. But that ended up apparently just being that the defensive line for Florida is just that bad. Because I don't think they got almost any pressure. I thought Utah was very comfortable. But Utah played a very good game. They were smart about everything. Nate Johnson he had some, I think he dropped the ball twice, which is definitely not a good thing to see. But his run plays were good. He made some plays. Barnes played a very good game. Their defense did a very good job. Florida missed on their opportunities. And most importantly at all, one thing that I thought Florida was actually going to be pretty good at, they had 13 rushing yards. How do you have 13 rushing yards? What happened? That is egregious. Their leading rusher, Trevor Etienne, I'm pretty sure is their leading rusher. Let me pull up the stats real quick. Trevor Etienne, 7 carries, 25 yards. And it wasn't like this team was so terrible at running it wasn't like they were getting carries. No, they were not getting carries, actually. My bad. They didn't get carries. I'm going to read off specifics. Trevor Etienne got 7 carries. In total, I'm going to take out Graham Mertz because he's not a running back, and some of the things that count as attempts are sacks. So that's kind of tough to judge. But out for just the pure skill positions, they added up to 12 rush attempts. 12 rush attempts. I get that you're down, but you can actually run the ball somewhat decent with these players. Travis Etienne is actually pretty good. I don't understand. Billy Napier, I've talked about before, I don't think he's that good of a coach. People say just give him time. Give him time. No, this dude's not that good right now. His coaching is strange. His play calling is kind of confusing. And you go into this game, Utah is missing a lot of their starters, and you just lay an egg your first game. This is not a good start for Florida. I don't think Florida's going to be that good this year. I said that before. And the opportunities they had that looked like they're going to be guaranteed score opportunities, they didn't score on. And they kept messing up. So the chances that they had to make this game close or make it competitive, they couldn't do it. Utah controlled this game. They just outplayed them. Nothing about this win in Florida's favor because Utah made things go in their favor. It's not like in the stuff before people talking about, oh, they just went in their favor, they got lucky. Utah just outplayed them. Nothing more than that. They played better. Shout out to Utah. Help my predictions. And I'm 5-0 so far in my predictions. I don't like to gloat usually, but I am actually pretty good with my predictions. So right now I'm 5-0. So we'll see if that continues. If it continues through week 1 through all the predictions I made throughout that game. By the way, I'm talking about like winning wise, not specific scores. But what coming up with this one, this week, if I get all of them right by just wins, I will mention that because that would be absurd because I made like 12 predictions about that. So some of them are guaranteed ones like tune-up games, some of them are not. Like North Carolina, South Carolina, and then like the LSU Florida State stuff. So yeah. But that is the review that I have for this. I'll be reviewing probably Fridays. I might just do Saturdays, but there's not big games Friday. Unless there's an upset, I will probably cover that. Like if Michigan State loses, or Louisville. Maybe Miami. If Miami loses, I will probably just cover that for the fun of it. I'm not a Miami fan. I'm an SEC fan. So yeah. But yeah, outside of Florida. Yeah. Hope you all have a great day. Stay safe, y'all. Hit the like button if you like this type of video. And comment whatever you want. Give your own predictions. Give your own opinions about whatever happened this weekend, whatever you want. And subscribe. I thank all for the support that you're giving me. Subscribe helps out the channel and all that. And hope you all have a great day. Stay safe, y'all. And God bless y'all.